Paul, just Sam Bennett immediately makes his presence felt with a couple of huge hits and just led you along the way.
Yeah. And so there's two components to that. It's the individual player's play style. I would say that maybe the prototypical kind of Florida Panther identity, the way we're either viewed or the way we like to play, he might embody that. And then it's what it does for the rest of our lineup, and that is equally as important because I think the Lundell line was the best line. They were fantastic tonight, and it put them all. It kind of puts our pieces in place. He's such a big part of it. We missed game one last year here. And he and Barkov are kind of like the two guys that seem to be kind of switching off in and out of our lineup over time. So it's been actually good for Lundell. And then when they're both in together, there's lots of options for us.
Paul, two questions. First, the double minor, be able to get the 2 goals off of that. Just how key was that, especially with the way the power play's been going? And then with Bennett coming in, you said it was going to be a tough decision. Why was Cousins the one that was taken out?
Yeah. Well, that's a lot.
Double minor.
The critical part of the double. Yeah. So I've been far more bullish on our power play than the stats, or at least the goals would tell you I should be. But our analytics on expected goals for on our power play are very, very high. So not that it's easy to say now, well, it's just a matter of time, but if you keep doing the right things over and over, you're going to have a good night. And I think we saved those up. Like we had a bunch that didn't go for us. I don't know that we necessarily should be, 4 for 6. That's fair, but overall it's fair. Our power play is good. Cousin was the one's tough because he's a big part of it, and I worry about taking a player like Nick out because of the impact it has on the room because he's so popular. But there's a speed function to it. Lorenz is a very quick big man. He can get in and get on the forecheck. He's also the real decider was that he's a center iceman. So Sam Bennett comes back in and he's fine to play, but if his game isn't right, so he's healthy. But even missing the games that he's missed in the playoffs, you don't know what you're going to get. So you get into the game and you go, oh, Sam's not there. He's fine to play, but his game's not there. What do I do? I needed the center in, is what I'm trying to say. Poso is built for this series, specifically for this series. He's heavy. He's smart. He can get hit on the walls through a huge hit in game 2 on the game-winning goal. And Stenlund, Stenlund's last 3 games have been fantastic for us, just fantastic. So that's why it was not easy, and I agonized over it because of the human part of it. Everybody loves this guy. I do too. Like, he's just got a great personality, and I got to take him out of the playoff. And all of the things you think about, you don't let them weigh you, but he's in his contract year. Like, this is all important. It's a sacrifice for our team that we asked him to make tonight, and it was not easy.
You talk about the series. You're saying he's big for this series. When you talk about playing the Bruins, what is it that you're doing now to disrupt their game and be able to play your game that you weren't able to do in the regular season?
I think the difference between success and failure is so small that it's almost not measurable. There isn't a piece that I would say clearly we're better at this. All of those games are very. As a matter of fact, the 4 Bruin games were, I think, our 4 best games in some ways. And we lost them all. But they came and played playoff hockey, and so did we. In terms of, if I'm paying money, this year I would say come to the Bruins when the Bruins and the Panthers play this regular season, because that's heavy and fast and mean and awesome, right? It's the way the game could be played, right? But this would probably be, I don't know, we're pretty much closer to our lineup tonight than maybe in any time. But those games, I don't walk off the bench tonight many nights after a loss in a particularly good mood. But I walked off the bench after losing each one of those games going, man, that was a hell of a game. So the regular season we were fine with. So it was very, very tight.
Coach, how much did you like the effort on that last PK? Obviously kind of shut down their comeback,
Yeah.
but the saves from Bob, the block from Cooley, just a lot of effort there.
Yeah, it kind of got us back into it. I thought, like, I didn't mind at the start of the third period. I thought we were off a foot, where we weren't in the first 2 periods. 1 foot, and it's our stick is a half foot out of a passing lane. It happened on one of the goals, and the power play there, and the pace of it, and Sergei saves. Almost Sergei too. Like that was a tough night for him. You sit that long, and then boom, two are in on 2 shots, and now you got a problem. So we needed that. I think that kind of fired us back, got us back into the game a little bit.
What were you thinking of your game or the way the game was going right before that double minor? You had obviously controlled most of play, but it was only 1-0, and then I think they were making a little bit of a push right before that. And then what were you thinking of right there?
If you had asked me on the bench and said, "What are you thinking?" I would think there's nothing else to do here. The result doesn't define you when you're right. As we played very, very well here tonight. And at that point in the game, it's 1-0, and the words was it like bad shit happens, right? You got to play as well as you did through that, and to get a couple of bounces off a skate, and when you lose the game, it's possible in a 1-0 game. It's just so tight. So then we would you sit there kind of going, "Well, we'll just deal with it," right? Learning experiences for us. So I was good with our game. I was good. You're going to make mistakes. I was good with our game. I'm not leaving until you get this question in, my friend. Just so we're clear, I would lay in front of that bus before I leave without this question. Yeah.
After game 1, you said that Aaron Ekblad would come out better after all the mistakes he made, but tonight he seemed like one of the biggest reasons why you were shutting down the Bruins. I mean, what do you have to say about Aaron's individual effort tonight?
I think his last 2 games were. Well, I'll share an in general 2 or 3 days. So the first game happens, his game's not good, and we're going to deal with it. We're going to deal with the video, right? And he's on it, but he's not very happy with me in the morning skate the next day. I was not unkind. I was honest. It was not. I wasn't trying to make a point, but he's still proud, man. And then he plays a hell of a game, so I give him a shot on the shoulder with about 2 or 3 minutes left and said, I can't use the words that I used, but that was pretty good. And he I can't use the words that he used, but he said, "What'd you expect?" So good for him. I like that. God, I like that a lot. His last 2 games were played like a leader. Didn't like his game. Came to the rink with a snarl, and it's been good.
Paul, what do you think of? It looked like Coyle and Marchand tried to invite Barkov into a fight right off the opening draw. Are you glad that he didn't accept it? And on the other part of that question is Coley Campbell was in the building tonight, and I know Kay Whitmore met with you guys. I mean, was it the big message to tone down the temperature in this game based on what happened in the third period last game?
No, it wasn't to tone it down. It's being watched. It's being, and rightfully so. At the same time, it's also pretty damn good. Like, if you're a hockey fan, you're not missing the Florida Panthers Bruins games, right? Like, it's on. Something could happen. Feels like something could happen every shift. I don't know what they were discussing at the start. It's not what Barkey does for a living, mind you. I think he's leading our team in hits probably this series. So everybody's got a job. It's not his. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks very much.